Welcome to Proposal Development, the third video in the Master the Grant Lifecycle from Prospect to Execution series, which is made possible through the generous support of the Urban Waters Learning Network and the Water Foundation. So as an introduction, this video lays out the steps to developing proposals, emphasizing a process that is really grounded in planning and collaboration, all with the end goal of a more efficient process that produces stronger proposals, more likely to get funded. As with the prospecting video, I'll be providing tips and guidance across those three steps and connecting you with tools to make that all feel more seamless. So let's dive into the first step of proposal development, which is getting the proposal set up. And this is work that is driven by the grant lead. And that's the person who, again, is overall point person overseeing and guiding the team through the whole proposal development process. And the first step here is really an obvious one, but it bears noting because it's so foundational to organization and collaboration that makes this process possible. So this is a folder where you want to have all proposal related documents, whether drafts or reference materials, in one easily accessible place. And second is you want your grant lead to know the funder rules inside and out. So that's character limits, formatting, restrictions, the specific time of day that a submission is due, and all details small and large. And that's for the grant lead to either own those or to translate those out to the team. The third here is taking inventory of required content and attachments. You want to note where you can pull from existing content and also where you're going to need to develop original content. And finally, the most important time saver that I've found in the grant writing process, which is building a resource library. And one essential component of this is a document with boilerplate text, and that's a single document with commonly requested text on commonly requested themes and topics that can be plugged into different applications with often no or minimal additional editing. And other items in your library could also include proposals and budgets, custom narrative and budget templates, and a folder with those standard attachments that often leave us scrambling right before the submission deadline, and important to keep that up to date and current. So the second step in the proposal development process is the proposal launch. And this meeting is where we get everyone aligned before diving into the writing and editing process. And you can see the icon at the top, which indicates that there is a tool to support this step. So go ahead down to the notes below the video and you'll see a link for the proposal launch meeting agenda, and pause the video or go ahead and take a scroll and scan through that. So back to the meeting. The key objectives of this meeting first is to confirm the project focus and key messaging. So you may be really clear on the direction and the specific activities, goals, objectives of the proposal, and really get into more granular detail in this meeting. Or you might be several steps back where you still have several concepts on the table that could be considered against their competitiveness and funding need, et cetera. So wherever you are, use this meeting to convene your core team and clarify your focus. The second point here is to review submission materials. So you want your grant lead to distill down what they learned in the proposal setup phase for the grant team. And finally is the important step of defining deadlines, deliverables, and roles. So for deadlines, you want to have your funder deadline in mind and work back from that to create those milestone deadlines for your drafts as you work through that iterative production and review process. And again, you can see an icon there, and you can click that link below here in the notes for a document that is labeled Master Grants Calendar. I filled in some mock data there so you can see how those fields are filled out, and that doesn't do those internal deadlines, but it does do those external deadlines for both proposal and reporting deadlines. So take a look at that and think about how that might be useful in your organization. And finally, roles. So use this meeting to really lock in what roles and responsibilities people have so that everybody knows one another's parts. And you'll see on that proposal launch agenda that I've included sample roles and responsibilities. And the final stage is developing the proposal. So we've done all that pre-work to make this phase clearer, smoother, more efficient. And the first suggestion here is to stay flexible. So proposal writing, schedules run off track, and roadblocks and surprises come up that require, creative problem solving. So when you stumble into those, it's good to remember you have an ultimate goal here to craft a strong, fundable proposal. So jump into those uncomfortable conversations, jump into those challenging conversations, and address them and tackle them so that you can get to your final goal. And second, keep talking. So you have the regular fundraising sync ups and those ongoing communications and check-ins and updates and all the ways that happen. Keep utilizing those to keep pushing the work forward. And finally, after you submit, make sure your grant lead emails the team to share the final materials, to confirm that it was submitted, let them know when you'll hear back, and acknowledge everyone. Proposal development is challenging work, and some shout outs really go a long way. So this concludes our proposal development phase. We've covered how to plan, launch, and develop a proposal, reviewed a few tools to support that process. And up next, we will talk about the budget development process. So thank you for joining and hope to see you over there.